Ever wondered why a cop walks up to your car and immediately touches your taillight before they even say a word to you? That single touch is not random. It is a trained move with a very specific purpose. And if you do not know what to do the moment it happens, you could lose everything in court before the stop is even over. Hit subscribe right now because what I am about to show you could be the difference between walking away clean and sitting in a courtroom watching a judge deny your case. Cops learn this in the academy, and they count on you not knowing it. That changes today. Here is what we are covering. The real reason cops touch your taillight and why it matters for your case. The exact words you say the second you're pulled over. The legal moves that shut down an investigation before it starts. And the massive courtroom mistake that kills good cases, even when drivers did everything right. By the end of this video, you will know more about your traffic stop rights than most people who have never sat in a law school classroom. I have analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and this is the stuff that shows up in those recordings again and again. Let me start with the problem because most people have no idea how fast a traffic stop turns into something serious. You're driving. You see lights in your mirror. Your stomach drops. You pull over. And in the next 60 seconds, decisions you make will either protect you completely or hand a prosecutor exactly what they need to build a case against you. Here is the reality. Most drivers are not thinking about their rights in that moment. They are nervous. They want to seem cooperative. They want this over fast. So they talk too much. They move too much. They agree to things without realizing what they are agreeing to. And by the time they figure out what went wrong, they are sitting across from a defense attorney asking why their case looks so bad. The touching of your taillight is part of a system designed to start collecting evidence the second that officer steps out of their cruiser. You need to understand it before you can protect yourself from it. Here is tactic 1, and this is where we start at the very beginning of every stop. The moment an officer touches your taillight, they are doing two things. First, they are leaving their fingerprints on your vehicle. This is a very old tactic that goes back decades, before dashboard cameras existed. If that officer got injured or something happened during the stop, their prints proved they were at that car. But there is a second reason that matters much more today. That touch is also an observation. The officer is watching your reaction. They are seeing if you flinch, if you look back, if you start moving around in the car. I have analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and you can see it clearly. The officer touches the light, watches the reaction through the rear windshield, and then walks to the window with a read already forming. So your tactic, the moment you see those lights, is to stop your car safely, put it in park, turn off your engine, roll your window down halfway, and put both hands on your steering wheel where they are completely visible. You do not reach for anything. You do not look back at the officer. You sit still. When the officer gets to your window, they will usually ask for license and registration. Here is exactly what you say. Before you hand anything over, you look straight ahead and say this. "Good evening, officer. My documents are in my glove box. I'm going to reach for them now." That is it, you announce. Every move before you make it. Defense attorneys use this exact line in court to show their clients were calm, cooperative, and not acting in a way that justified any escalation. Bad way. Most drivers reach immediately into the glove box or their pocket without saying a word. The officer sees sudden movement, announces they felt unsafe, and now you have a justification on record for everything that follows. Good way, smart. Drivers announce every single movement first. Then the officer has nothing to point to. The recording shows a calm interaction from the start, and any escalation after that looks like it came from the officer, not from you. Have you ever been in a situation during a traffic stop where you felt like things were escalating and you did not know why? Drop a comment below right now because I read every single one, and I want to know your story. Tactic 2 is about what happens after you hand over your documents. The officer takes your license and registration, walks back to their cruiser, and now you sit there waiting. This is where most drivers make a critical mistake. They get on their phone, they turn around and watch the officer, they start talking to their passenger nervously. Every single one of those things creates what officers note in their reports as suspicious behavior during the stop. Here's the trick they do not want you knowing. While that officer is in their car, they are running your plates, checking for warrants, and they are also deciding whether they have enough to extend this stop beyond giving you a ticket. Legally, once the reason for the stop is resolved, meaning they write your ticket or let you go with a warning, they cannot keep you there without new reasonable suspicion. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings, and we will get into the exact case in a few minutes. So your job during that waiting period is to give them absolutely nothing new. Sit still, look forward, keep your hands visible. Do not reach for anything. Do not whisper to your passenger about what to do. Here is exactly what you say to your passenger before the officer even gets back to the window. You say this quietly one time. Do not say anything unless they ask you a direct question. Let me handle this. That is it. No panic conversation, no strategizing out loud. Because here's the reality. Officers leave their microphones hot when they walk back to their cruiser. Some of those body cams and dash cams pick up conversation from inside your vehicle more than you think. Watch what happens when drivers have this quiet preparation versus when they do not. The ones who talk through their plan nervously on camera give officers written notes for the report. The ones who stay calm give them nothing. Legal experts agree this is your strongest protection during the waiting phase. Silence inside the vehicle is not suspicious. It is, you're right. Tactic 3 is the one that matters most. The second the officer comes back to your window and starts asking questions beyond the stop. This is where the stop either ends or turns into something much bigger. The officer hands back your documents, and then instead of saying, "Have a nice day," they say something like, "Hey, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? Or is there anything in the car I should know about?" Or the most dangerous one, "You do not have anything illegal in there, do you?" Listen closely, because this is critical. The moment they start asking questions, beyond the traffic stop, you are in a voluntary conversation. You are not required to answer, and the way you respond right here determines everything. Here is exactly what you say. You look at the officer and say this: "Officer, am I being detained or am I free to leave?" Those exact 10 words. You say them calmly, you say them politely. No attitude, no aggression, just that question. This is 100% legal. Former police officers have confirmed this works to clarify the status of the stop immediately. What that question does is force the officer to make a legal decision on camera. If they say you're free to leave, you thank them, start your car, and you drive away. If they say you are being detained, you now say this: "I understand I do not consent to any searches, and I would like to speak with an attorney." Say exactly that. Do not add anything. Do not explain yourself. Do not say where you're coming from or going. Bad way. Most drivers respond to those questions by explaining themselves. They say, "I was just coming from a friend's house," or "There's nothing in my car, I promise." That is giving the officer new information they did not have before, and it almost always leads to a longer stop. Good way. Smart drivers use that one question to pivot the entire conversation into one that protects them completely. Watch what happens when you ask that question on a recording. The tone shifts immediately, because the officer now knows you understand your rights. Most people already clicked away. If you are still here, you are in the top 10% of drivers who actually understand what is at stake. Drop a comment right now that says, "I am still here because I want to know how many of you are serious about this." And keep watching, because what is coming next is what separates drivers who win in court from drivers who do not even know they had a winnable case. Tactic 4 is what you do after the stop. This is the one nobody talks about. You made it through the stop. You used your tactics. You drove away. Now what? The very first thing you do is pull into a parking lot or a safe location and write down everything: the time, the location, the officer's name and badge number if you caught it, what they said word for word as best you can remember, what you said, whether they touched your car, whether they asked to search, whether you consented to anything. Get all of that down in a text message to yourself or a note on your phone immediately. This is 100% legal, and defense attorneys use this exact documentation method to build cases. Here is why it matters. Memory fades fast. Details blur. But if something from that stop ends up in a courtroom 6 months later, your documented notes from 3 minutes after the stop are powerful evidence of what actually happened. I have analyzed over 200 body cam videos, and there are cases where the officer's body cam recorded something that contradicted the written report. Your notes become part of your side of the record. If you can also safely note whether there were any witnesses around, write that down. Now let me give you the legal framework that backs all of this up, because this is not just advice from the internet. This comes straight from Supreme Court rulings that are still in effect today. The first case you need to know is Terry v. Ohio from 1968. In plain English, police can stop and briefly detain you if they have specific and articulable facts that suggest criminal activity. But briefly detain does not mean hold you as long as they want. It means the stop needs to be tied to the reason they pulled you over. The second case is Rodriguez v. United States from 2015. In plain English, police cannot extend a traffic stop even by a few minutes to wait for a drug dog or investigate something else unless they have independent reasonable suspicion. The moment the traffic purpose is done, the stop needs to end. This is the case that backs up Tactic 2 completely. The third case is Illinois versus Cabales from 2005. In plain English, a dog sniff outside your car during a lawful stop is not considered a search under the Fourth Amendment. But combined with Rodriguez, the stop cannot be extended just to get the dog there. Know these names. You do not need to quote them at the officer on the road, but your attorney will use them if this ever goes to court. Now let me walk you through a real scenario so you can see all four. tactics working together. Imagine it is 11 at night. You're driving home. You have a taillight out that you did not know about. You see red and blue lights. Here's the wrong way first. You pull over and immediately reach into your glove box before the officer even gets out of their car. The officer sees movement and notes it. They get to your window and ask where you are coming from. You say you were out with friends and name 3 locations. They ask if you have been drinking. You say no and laugh nervously. They ask if you would mind stepping out so they can do a quick check. You say okay because you want to seem cooperative. You step out. They run a dog around the car. The dog alerts. They search. Whatever they find is now in a report, and you are having a very bad night. Here's the right way using everything you just learned. You pull over, you put both hands on the wheel, you stay still. Officer touches your taillight. You do not react. They come to the window. You say your name is on the license and your registration is in the glove box, and you announce you are reaching for it. They take your documents. You sit still with hands visible. They come back and ask where you are coming from. You say calmly, "Officer, am I being detained or am I free to leave?" They say they just want to ask a couple questions. You repeat the same question. They write your ticket. You take it politely. You drive away. You immediately pull over and document everything. 2 completely different outcomes. Same stop, different knowledge. Next week, I am dropping a video on exactly what to say. When a cop claims they smell marijuana coming from your vehicle, subscribe right now because that situation gets people arrested every single day. And the tactics in that video are even more specific than what we covered today. You do not want to miss it. That video goes up in 3 days. Let me bring it all together. Cops touch your taillight as an observation and a positioning move, and your response needs to be still hands and a calm body. You announce every movement before you make it, especially when reaching for documents. The moment a stop turns into a question session, you ask calmly whether you are being detained or free to leave. You document everything immediately after the stop ends while your memory is fresh. Those 4 moves, used together, give you the strongest legal protection available to any driver in a traffic stop. Hit subscribe right now so you catch the marijuana stop video dropping this week, because that one is the most requested topic on this channel for a reason. Smash the like button if this just changed the way you think about traffic stops forever, and drop a comment telling me which of these 4 tactics you had no idea about before today. Stay safe out there.